It's the first time that there's ever been a curator at the Smithsonian that's specifically tasked with collecting American Freemasonry and fraternal history. There have been curators that have collected it and have been actually very interested in it, but none that where it's basically part of their portfolio. And so that's something that may not happen after I retire. So I try and take the most of this opportunity to really flesh out the collections, make them as representative as possible, and try and tell the story in its fullest way about American Freemasonry and American fraternalism in general.
Interesting. Go ahead, Bob, if you had something.
Yeah, I've always got something. There's always interesting stuff comes along when we have these discussions. It's very interesting that that you're the first guy who's got a kind of dedicated portfolio of fraternalism, and I commend your employers for that. That's fairly far-sighted on their part, mainly because, in my opinion, it plays such a huge part in the history of any particular country where fraternalism existed. And I suspect that in the future, people will be very grateful to people like Tim for doing the work they are doing. That kind of leads me to the point. Yeah, I know I kind of ramble a little bit, but the question I suppose I'm going to ask you is, when you were given that part of or increased your portfolio, did they do that consciously because they knew that they had a great deal of material about fraternalism, Freemasonry, etc., or was it just because they needed to add something to your existing responsibilities?
A good question. Maybe a little from column A, a little from column B. I think in reality, I mean, like I say, my other areas, law enforcement, firefighting, other community organizations. I mean, these are not niche areas, but they're not hugely expansive, tracks of American history that people, it's not, I'm not a political historian. I'm not a historian of the American military, for instance, or military history. Those are really large topics.